Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Hollywood After Dark. Today is the 19th, 20th. It's the 20th. I always forget the date, but it's the 20th of November, 2019. And today was a day. If you are a fan of genre filmmaking, meaning all the shit that's popular that people watch out there, then today you must have been really paying attention. Specifically, if you were curious about where things were going to go with Star Wars and DC and a lot of other stuff, man. It's been a hell of a day. And that's what I love about the movie industry. It's always moving, right? They don't call it the motion picture industry for nothing. It's always in motion, a rolling rock collects no moss, or whatever that saying is, albeit I fucked that one up. But no, it's always moving. It's always in motion. Things are always happening. Things are always kind of coming together in ways that you would never really expect. But I think today, especially in the two really big stories of today was definitely one of those days where you're like, yeah, no, I get it. I could foresee these things happening because it just all makes sense. And of course, I'm going to be talking about Kathleen Kennedy and the Hollywood Reporter report and what that could potentially mean for the future, as well as what's going to be happening with the Joker. Because that, of course, that was a weird one today, too. You had a scoop, then you had a retraction, then kind of another doubling down. And I got a bit of info on that myself. My old scoopster pal, Mikey Sutton, gave me a little bit of information today. That kind of ties into the story. So we're going to talk about that. And it's just crazy how everything these days feels like it's just nothing but comic books and and Star Wars and Star Trek. But that's Hollywood for you. That's where the money is right now. It is. That's where the money is right now. And it's what people are interested in because, well, it's where the money is. There's correlation. So I figured tonight we would go through a handful of stories. I got about 4 stories to cover. I think it's going to be pretty good. And we'll open it up to Q&A. And if anyone is going to want to come on the stream, DM me on Twitter. My handle's down there in the bottom left corner. DMs are open, and I can send you a link, and you can come on in, and we can have a conversation about the topics of today. Get your thoughts, get your hot takes, get your opinions, because I do want to make this as communal as possible, this particular show of mine. I do enjoy doing it, and until Streamlabs StreamYard gives me the ability to patch in Skype or to patch in Discord without it looking absolutely insane and giving away a lot of private info, then we're kind of going to have to stick with it in this particular perspective. So people are telling me that my voice sounds strange. That is weird. Let me check my settings real quick. It sounds fine to me. Let's see. Microphone. Looks okay. Oh, there we go. Let's see. That should be it. That should be better now. Is that better? Can you guys hear me now? Is that better? I just turned off. I think I had my settings set to, default microphone. I don't know why. It went to, I think it might have been looking at my webcam. I sound like Markiplier. That's so weird. What's going on? It's like having extra nad. Let me, okay, hold on. I got to double check this now. Let me see. What in the hell is going on? This is super freaking weird, guys. Because it shouldn't be doing that. Wow. Okay. I have literally no idea what's causing that. I literally have no idea why. It sounds like, chocolate rain. Move away from the mic to breathe in chocolate rain. I don't think it's an internet thing. I think it's an actual computer thing. I did just 2 apps are using the microphone. Which apps are using the microphone right now? All right, we're going to turn that off. It could just be a conflict of everything right now. Google Chrome currently in use. I'm not still logged in to Discord. I'm going to close out Discord for right now. Maybe that's... It's not that it's bad sounding, but it just sounds like... It doesn't sound like me. It sounds like I'm just something else entirely. You know what? This happened. This happened before a long time ago when I first got this thing. So, what in the hell, man? Okay, let me just manage device properties here. Okay. All right, looks fine. Let's see here. Levels. Advanced. Sometimes. Okay. Okay. That could be better. Let's find that out. This is always embarrassing. There we go. There we go. That's it. Nah, it's well, Bianca. It's not necessarily a big deal, but it is to me. There we go. I figured out the problem. The problem was was just a setting. It happened before when I first got this thing. The Shure SMB7 that I have requires you to have like the highest. If it gets moved, if certain like features get moved around, it can get screwy. So, yeah, no, it's good. Trojan man, yeah, Trojan man, doing Trojan things. But there we go. We're back. We're back on track. That's not at all completely killing whatever monologue or setup I had for the episode. Although I don't know if I had much, to be fair. I didn't really plan it out, which is unfortunate. Wish I would have done that. Anyway, let's get on with the fucking show, right? As I was saying before, DM me on Twitter if you guys want to come on in. And it's open. Send me a message. I'll see it. When is Mandalorian coming? Mandalorian's coming on Friday. Or about, I don't know, maybe 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. You know how they operate. Okay. Where am I? There am I. Okay, let's get into what I need us to get into here. So, next time I get into an online argument to switch to the other voice. Yeah, that's fucking great. Okay. Let's talk about Star Wars. Let's talk about specifically in regards to Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy, because she is not having a good time. There's a reason why I titled this Kathleen Kennedy's No Good, Very Bad, Horrible Day. Because whatever control she might have had, whatever power she might have had, I believe at this point is fundamentally gone. And I don't say that to be like super critical of her. As I've said multiple times in the past, when I think about Kathleen Kennedy, I think of her relatively fondly. I just don't think that she has what it takes to run a studio, and she did it because in 2012, George went to her personally and asked her to take over. So she feels an obligation to the man, one of two men who really helped her get a career. Keep in mind, she met Spielberg back in 79 on the set of 1942. And then from there, he brought her to work with him the next year, to go work with him on Raiders. And then she followed him along to practically everything else. And she worked on Indiana Jones, and she was an associate producer. She's been around. As I've said, her fingers were in our childhood. So I have to give her the benefit of the doubt, but I still want to be critical of the fact that I don't think that running Lucasfilm has been the best thing for her. And as we kind of saw in that Rolling Stone video or article yesterday, it doesn't really feel like she's got a lot of control. It just kind of feels like she's got senioritis. You know, she's got a couple years left on her contract, 2 years left on her contract. She's got one more movie coming out in less than a month. And then after that, it's really it's television. And then getting the next movie ready, which apparently we're going to find out more about in January. Anyway, this image here is honestly the legacy that she's trying to protect. Sure, it's the one on the right with the sequel trilogy, whereas the other two are definitely Lucas, but it's still, she's been there. It's still a mishmash, right? It's still part of the same connected universe. There are people out there that argue the trilogy, everything died in Return of the Jedi. No, that's not true. You may not like the new movies, but no, they're continuing on. And this is the legacy that I think many people out there would love to have worked on Star Wars, that contributed to this, that's lived on for 42 years and will live on past George and everybody else, including us. Anyone listening to this ever, Star Wars will probably outlive you. Unless the end times have already happened, and then why are you here? Go scavenge or procreate. But anyway, this article popped up today on The Hollywood Reporter. This kind of came in off yesterday's Rolling Stone revelations, telling us a bit more about the situation behind the scenes at Lucasfilm. Again, inside sources. Take it with a grain of salt, as always, but Hollywood Reporter, not quite like your average masked YouTuber. Just saying. Star Wars uncertainty extends to Kathleen Kennedy's Disney future, saying the Lucasfilm chief has a director lined up for the 2022 film, even as she has yet to settle on the direction for the marquee franchise evolving mythology or her own future. So she's already got a director that we're going to find out about a month or so after the release of Rise of Skywalker, because they want to get through that first month. They want to get through that first hurdle, which to me is kind of scary, right? Because what does that really mean? You have a director that you want to wait until the movie's already gone through the bulk of its box office run? Because keep in mind, like something like The Joker cracked $1 billion in less than a month. Same with Captain Marvel. So it's a little bit on the creepy side. Now it says, are there any fans more implacable than Star Wars fans, or implacable than Star Wars fans? Probably not. And with the Rise of Skywalker set to wrap up the original saga when it opens on December 20th, it's fair to say that some are waiting with knives out to see what comes next. And I don't like that. Because when she says she has a director lined up, and then this person, I think her name is Kim Masters, is the author, directly quotes the title of Rian Johnson's next movie. I mean, either it's a brilliant pun meant to invoke a certain emotion, which successful, or because she's been talking to insiders, this is a hint, a tease. God, I hope not. I'm saying, I really hope not. Anyway, the overarching and billion-dollar questions for Disney. Where does Star Wars universe go from here? Will Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy stay or exit? Will CEO Bob Iger and film studio chief Alan Horn give her a chance to steer this bulky behemoth into a smooth flight path? And given the rocky recent past filled with fired and sidelined directors and aborted projects, which filmmakers would dare take on the next phase of Star Wars? I think if you could tell a good story, you could take on Star Wars. You know, there's a lot there to pull from, despite what Kathy said in that interview, right? We don't have any source material to pull from. No. You don't have 40 years of comics and a lot of books. That's, geez. Anyway, asked to comment on these topics, Disney has nothing to say. Because all eyes are on episode 9. As Kennedy, 66, may be reading into the silence, asked how long she might stick around at her job. She recently said to the Rolling Stone, what happens in the future, or how long, or how much, how longer I do this? I don't know yet. I'm looking at all of that. I mean, come on. If she was as dedicated to this job, right? If she was still as in much control as they're going to try to profile her as being in charge. The rumor is that Iger has been shadow running everything, and she's just a placeholder. She's there in name only. She's just a figurehead. And so when she's talking about I have no idea how much longer I'm going to be doing this, it's never a good sign. It doesn't really show a lot of confidence. Just saying. Now, she hasn't offered any specifics, but the new Disney Plus series, The Mandalorian, seems to provide a strong hint regarding her ideas about how to plot the future of Star Wars, if she's given the opportunity. Note those plans involve a very limited role for Marvel Studios chief Kevin Feige, who is set to produce his own film take on the franchise. So already right there, it's already come on, we can all read between the lines. It hasn't offered any specifics, but The Mandalorian seems to provide the idea, because people like The Mandalorian and people want to see more of it, and they think Disney Plus is a great place for all that stuff. But also, if she's given the opportunity, and then immediately following it up with the whole thing about Kevin Feige, because Feige is definitely going to be in charge, and I think this is also going to tie into Favreau. And this is on November 13th, Disney held a premiere showing 3 episodes of The Mandalorian at El Capitan. Unsurprisingly, creator Jon Favreau was the star of the night. Perhaps some of the most lavish praise for the Mandalorian experience came from eccentric filmmaker and Mandalorian actor Werner Herzog, who raved about the cutting-edge technology on display, but his words seemed to be freighted with meaning beyond that. Say, what you are creating is an entire universe. The universe is filled with new mythology, and not everyone in the cultural history or not often in cultural history have we had new mythologies, and I find it very significant. Now, listen, as a Werner Herzog fan, that's some pretty significant praise. I think we all can agree on that one there. But I mean, think about that. Like, that paragraph right there is all about how good Favreau was, right? How great he is, how amazing he is. Werner Herzog, very, very renowned, well-respected filmmaker, right? Comes out and says, you're creating a new mythology. You are the telling these new stories. I mean, come on. I can't be the only one that's looking at that. Like, they are significantly propping him up. Continuing here, it says, creating a new mythology is, of course, the challenge that Disney faces with Star Wars. Kennedy is an experienced and competent producer, but she's not a creative visionary. She made her name as a producer for creative visionary Steven Spielberg. So who better than Favreau to play the leading role in charting the course? He has fan loyalty. He is Team Disney as they come, having directed The Jungle Book and Lion King. He worked with Kennedy on the all-important effort to launch Disney Plus, and having consulted on, executive produced, and acted in Marvel movies, he's also close with Feige. And this, to me, is the most important paragraph in the entire article, because this puts the spotlight square on Johnny Favs, right? It puts it right there on him. And I think that a lot of people out there completely would agree with this. If you're listening to this right now, you're probably going, like, nodding your head going like, yeah, it should be Favs, man. Like, Favs is awesome, because he is awesome. He knows how to make competent films. He loves exploring new technology, and he likes telling good stories. He's also a massive Star Wars fan, and he and Kevin Feige created the MCU. Absolutely, positively, fundamentally created the MCU. And we've already known it was going this direction for a while. It just seems to make the most amount of sense. But now we're getting, instead of being at rumor and theory and speculation, we're literally watching the groundwork being laid. We're watching the yellow brick road being paved right now, right? We're watching it happen. And it's fascinating to me as not only a Star Wars fan, but a Marvel fan and a movie fan, and just a Hollywood industry fan, to watch it play out the way that it is, because it is significant. It's very significant, right? So, with or without Kennedy, sources say that it seems likely that Favreau will have a lot to say over future Star Wars. These sources also say that Kennedy's ideal team includes key roles for Michelle Rejoin, a producer on Episode 9, and Lucasfilm's Senior VP Live Action Development and Production, and Dave Filoni, the veteran animation director and George Lucas protege, who directed live action for the first time with 2 episodes of The Mandalorian. Even if remaining in Lucasfilm is not in the cards for Kennedy, the plan would to enable her to trumpet that she has done the job she was hired to do, completing the Skywalker saga and leaving the franchise in good hands. Yeah, this is an exit letter, right? This is one of those moments when you get that email from Barb in accounting and you're like, oh, Barb, what's she up to? Oh, she's leaving. Oh, when she completes this new project, she's out the door. Well, I mean, like, that's unfortunate. I mean, Barb, she's there, right? And she does her job. She's competent. But she's not management material, that Barb. It's always Barb's fault. But then it says here that on the movie side, Nothing's going to happen fast. Iger already noted that Star Wars film hiatus in a November 7th earnings call. In September, he told the New York Times that Disney put a little bit too much in the marketplace too fast, which is crap. We already know that's crap. If the movies were good, if Last Jedi was good, Solo wouldn't have bombed, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. Solo also bombed because of a very bad release date. Let's be fair about that one, right? So, this is where we get into the future of the next couple years. Sources say that Kennedy has a film on deck for 2022, but not the one being developed by Last Jedi filmmaker Rian Johnson. No announcement planned until January. Okay. Now, she's got a film on deck for 2022. Come on. We all know who it is, right? We all know. At this point, we all know. It's either going to be Kevin Feige, or it's going to be the Mandalorian movie, or it's going to be something else from Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni directing maybe something like an Ahsoka Tano movie, or something along those lines. Could be the Boba Fett. I mean, it's going to be something that's going to be tied in to the OT, or at least Clone Wars or Rebels or something that people really like. That's going to be in there. And they're going to announce it in January, but it could still technically be Rian Johnson. They could just be deflecting it right now. Anyway, Kennedy's contract is up in 2021, so whether she will be on the job when this film's completed is not clear. Kennedy insists that she's enjoyed running Lucasfilm, but in some ways it's hard to see how. She's had one of the hardest jobs in Hollywood, inventing stories under a white-hot spotlight and dealing in a universe where rabid fans have plenty of ideas, mostly about what they don't want. And she was picked by Lucas before he sold to Disney, not Iger. It's not hard to imagine that Iger would like to install his own choices ahead of this bubble that cost $4 billion and has generated some headache since. It's also not hard to imagine that Iger has not enjoyed the negative noise around the franchise, despite nearly $5 billion in global box office since 2015. I mean, it doesn't really compare to the $20 billion that Marvel's made. But that's what Iger wants, and that's what Iger's after, and that's what Iger is eyeing, and that's what we're seeing here. A changing of the guard towards creatives, and not someone who was brought in to ultimately back the person, as a favor to a person that she feels she probably owes her career to. Now, finishing up here, it says, fans were thrilled when THR reported that Feige had pitched a Star Wars movie, but for now his plate is loaded. He is at a pivot point with the end of the Infinity Saga in terms of films. He is taking control of the Marvel characters that previously belonged to Fox. And another Spider-Man movie just plopped into his lap. Now that Sony has come to its senses, I will say I do love that line. Feige is also launching shows in rapid sequence for Disney Plus, starting with Falcon and the Winter Soldier in fall 2020. And of course, moving him to Star Wars risks tampering with the Marvel magic. But a number of industry observers still believe that Feige, 46, so a solid 20 years younger than Kennedy, is the future. Given his track record, says one film agent, if you're Iger, you've got to figure out a way to use that person. And that's true. He's not wrong. He's not wrong, right? What you're looking at here is a situation where Kathleen Kennedy as a whole, she hasn't been able to cut it for a long time. We know this. And I say this and I'm being critical and I'm trying not to be mean because I've criticized her a lot and I've been accused of being mean. I'm not, I just kind of find her stuck between a rock and a hard place at this point. And I think she knows her time is up. And I think she's looking for the exit and she just wants to get through. She just wants to get through. Get through Rise of Skywalker, complete the trilogy, close it out, greenlight the next movie, set up whatever Disney Plus shows, maybe wait around for Obi-Wan to get going or something. And then at the end, I think she's going to resign before the end of her contract. I do. I think she's going to resign before the end of her contract and they're going to toss it over to maybe Feige. And it's just an overseeing capacity. Feige is like maybe president of Lucasfilm, but the senior, the creative heads, Michelle Rejwan, who came over from J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot, Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, they could make it work. They could make it work. Clearly they believe in Michelle Rejwan, even though we don't know much about her yet. And that's actually the one that I'm looking to the most because they put a lot of faith in her to have her come on and play this part, to take over this particular role. So we have to wait and see what's going to happen on that front. But in the meantime, we
we're in for a hell of a ride. Not only with The Rise of Skywalker opening in just a couple weeks, The Mandalorian's still going pretty hardcore right now. Episode 3 drops in just about 24 hours. Clone Wars Season 7 on the horizon. It's going to be a good time to be a Star Wars fan. Now, if we can only get it back to the movies, that'd be even better. But as always, I want to hear your thoughts and your opinions because you guys tell me what you think and we talk about it. That's part of the whole process. Let's talk about the Joker because this is this is a story that's blown up today, right? Joker sequel in the works with Todd Phillips planning yet another DC character origin movie. This was what was going on today. This was what was huge about today. I woke up this morning after having done 5 stories last night and been like, oh man, I can't talk about that until tonight. Damn it. But it's not without its own controversies. So saying here, Joker is a huge hit, probably headed towards several Oscar nominations, and it just became the first R-rated movie to cross 1 billion at the worldwide box office. That kind of attention studios thrive on and want more of. And sure enough, after weeks of speculation, it looks like Joker sequel is officially happening. Director Todd Phillips pitched Warner Brothers Picture Group chairman Toby Emmerich on an idea to develop a Joker-style origin stories for multiple DC characters. And while Emmerich didn't fully go for the idea, Phillips did get the rights to develop a film on at least one character, meaning he's now working on both a Joker sequel, which will likely bring back Joaquin Phoenix, and another Joker-influenced DC origin film. And that is fascinating. Another DC-style origin film. A lot of people are saying like Riddler or Penguin or something. And I think if we got like the emotional background of these villains, it could make for very interesting social commentary and looking at the woes of society and what would frame someone to become a mass murdering asshole, right? One of Batman's rogues galleries of villains. But it only works on so many levels. If you don't introduce Batman at some point in time, you're just kind of blowing smoke up the audience's ass. And you are. I don't care what anyone says. At this point, you are. If you don't introduce Batman and have there be a fight, people aren't going to stick around very, very long. Joker works as a single standalone movie, not connected to the DCEU at large or to the DC universe at large. It's almost like the anti-comic book movie, because even though it's designed to be like, according to Todd Phillips, a good movie wrapped in a comic book film, it's one that still pulls from its origins of the Joker, which is why it's familiar, but it does it in a way that is very interesting to see that discussion play out, which is why it's hit the $1 billion. But I think it should stay where it's at. Stay in its lane. Don't go too far. You go too far, you run the risk of screwing it up. And we're going to talk about that here too in a minute. So according to this one update, because first it was Hollywood Reporter saying this, then it says Deadline is saying that it's actually incorrect and that multiple sources said no such October 7th meeting between Phillips and Emmerich occurred, and that Phillips hasn't even considered overseeing other DC character films. Okay, so that's one thing. Then you've got Variety jumping on in, right? Because of course, Hollywood Reporter talks about it. Deadline chimes in. Variety's going to roll and go like, guys, we want to come to the party too. And they say that they decided they said the original story is half true, right? Because they're going to play Sweden on this front. Warner's is exploring a sequel with Todd Phillips, but nothing has been finalized and no scripts are currently being written. As for the report of the separate DC character origin film, that's false, at least according to Variety. But the story continues. So they kind of talk about the rest of the story here. They kind of go through everything, right? But it goes on to say for the sequel. And it says, as for the Joker sequel, Joaquin Phoenix is likely to return. Warner's has sequel options with the actor and is sure they're working on a deal to net Phoenix a huge payday. And then perhaps Phoenix will go dance down those steps to celebrate. But just what the heck would a Joker sequel focus on? Will Phoenix's Arthur Fleck / Joker rise into the full-blown crime lord we know from the comics? That would seem to go against everything in Joker, which is more of a small-scale character study. But one thing seems certain. While the young Bruce Wayne appeared in Joker, don't expect Batman to pop up in the sequel since the Cape Crusader is clearly in the hands of director Matt Reeves for now. And then it goes on to say that many of my colleagues have soured on Joker or didn't even care for it to begin with. And this is where we start talking about Access Media and how jerky they were. But then this last line here I find fascinating. Hopefully Phoenix or Phillips can come up with a better screenplay this time around. Look, I would argue that the screenplay, which is the skeleton of the film, is arguably the best part outside of the performance by Joaquin Phoenix. And to sit there and say, hopefully he writes a better script next time. Yeah, when you write a movie that's a character study, that's all about mental illness and being forgotten by the system, and you frame it in a comic book light, and it does over $1 billion, I think he kind of nailed it out of the park, right? Am I wrong on that one, people? I mean, I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong at all. But of course, Chris Evangelista here is, well, yeah, he's definitely a bit of a suck up. But what I wanted to talk about, this is the news that I got. Now, you may not know who this is, and that's okay. But let me tell you who this guy is. This guy is Mikey Sutton. Mikey Sutton has, in recent months, blown up as this massive, massive online scooper. Gets all the deets, gets all the info, gets all the intel. He tossed me the information about Snyder Cut coming to HBO Max sometime in 2020. And again, rumor, take with a grain of salt. But he also relayed some information about the situation involving Joker and its sequel, and also its sequels. Because if you know anything about how Warner Brothers works, more or less, this is what we're going to get. We're going to get something along the lines of this. The Joker trilogy, directed by Todd Phillips. This is what I'm being told. Now, let it sink in. Let it sink in. And then ask yourself, how in the hell are they going to do it? Or, better yet, why in the hell would they do it, right? Why in the hell would you sit there and have the Joker trilogy? Well, the answer to that is simple. And it really is simple. $1 billion. All right. We can all do the Dr. Evil $1 billion. It's not the meme, but it's $1 billion. Warner Brothers has the highest or the most profitable comic book movie ever made. When you look at the investment and then the budget of it, as well as the take home, they're going to want to double down on that. And they've done it before. We know for a fact that Warner Brothers pulls the cart before the horse all the time, especially when it comes to something that's popular. Matrix 1999, one movie. A couple years down the road, we got Matrix 2 and 3 shot back to back with a massive budget. Both of them came out in 2003. Both of them, fans were a bit soft on. Look at all the shows they've given Greg Berlanti over there on the CW. Not only all the Arrowverse shows, I think there's like 6 of them now. 5 or 6 of them now. Then they're also going to do DC Universe, which has 2, it did have 3. And then all of the HBO Max shows. Warner's, when it comes to DC Comics, because they're so desperate to take on Marvel, who consistently messes with them time and time again, and that is true, they are in a situation where they are going to find themselves in a world of hurt because they are going to overproduce the hell out of this thing, and they're going to rush it, just like they did with Hangover 2 and Hangover 3. Because they originally, and I'm not even making this up, after the release of Hangover 2, which I believe opened to about 88 million in May of 2011, one of the higher ups at Warner Brothers made a comment about Hangover 4, because we already knew Hangover 3 was greenlit and they were working on it. And he went on to say, what about Hangover 4? Because Warner Brothers is desperate to have a franchise like Harry Potter again. They're desperate to have a franchise like Marvel that just milks money. Just milks money. Here what they have is a fantastic small-scale character study about a mentally impaired person left behind by the system, fell through the cracks, felt ignored and just displaced and not fulfilled, and like he had no purpose in society, and so he turned into a criminal. It's a movie that should not, by any stretch of the imagination, originally in concept, made $1 billion. But it sparked a conversation. A lot of it had to do with the hyped up attacks on it by the media. But it still did it. And the people are still talking about it, and they're still seeing it. And it's still having an impact on society. And I don't know if Joker 2 or 3 would be able to actually be able to get to recapture that. And I know people out there are going to say, well, they should still try. And I'm usually okay with sequels like this. Like, I'm still going to go see it. But I can't help but thinking that if this is the same thing as the Hangover franchise, and this is the same thing as the Matrix franchise, and all the other times Warner's has rushed to get something out there in order to beat the competition, that all they're going to do at this point is just screw themselves over and kill something that is perfectly fine the way that it is. Anyway, that's that one. So let's talk about the next story here. What do I got? Okay, so this one is a new rumor that's popping up today. Again, another rumor, different person. Moon Knight will apparently connect to Blade. Now, back in D23, back in August, we got word, official confirmation that Kevin Feige was going to be bringing us a Moon Knight series. And that had a lot of people really excited because, for one, this character ain't necessarily PG-13. This character ain't necessarily aimed for the youngins. This character, he messed some stuff up. And it's going to go to Disney Plus. Now, you look at something like Disney Plus and you think PG-13 is going to be pretty much where they draw the line. You know, they're not going to put TVMA or TV, 14 or anything like that. They're not going to go edgy adult content. That's for freaking Hulu. Considering they're bringing all the FX content to Hulu. But no, they are planning this for Disney Plus. And Bob Iger himself said they are going to find a way to explore bringing other adult content to Disney Plus. And it could be because of something like this. And also because of Blade. People are going to want to see Blade be rated R. Anything less, you're going to waste the opportunity. You're going to waste Mahershala Ali. So tying him into Moon Knight makes the most amount of sense for right now. Now it says here, a new rumor has surfaced regarding what Marvel may be planning for Moon Knight. According to superhero movie scooper Daniel Richtman, the highly anticipated Moon Knight series will tie into Mahershala Ali's Blade. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige has said that the Marvel shows they're developing for Disney Plus connect with the feature films that they are developing. For example, we know that WandaVision and Loki are going to tie in to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Well, actually, Loki's going to tie in to Thor. Potentially crossing over into Multiverse of Madness because it comes out before Thor Love and Thunder. But really, it's going to be Thor. And it would make sense considering that Loki is in an alternate timeline, kind of in an alternate universe. So when he meets Doctor Strange, then they could bring him into the 616 timeline, which would then put him back on track to reconnect with Thor and to give us one more outing with those two characters, which I like. I'm not going to lie, I love. Now, it says here, it's not too far-fetched to think that Moon Knight and Blade would connect. After all, they are both Marvel characters that are on the darker side of the Marvel universe spectrum. There's also no information given exactly how they will connect, but it's something that we can speculate. And that's true. Where, you don't know, because here's the story of Moon Knight, in case you don't know. In the comics, Mark Spector, aka Moon Knight, was a CIA agent turned mercenary where he made millions. His wealth from being a mercenary and investments land him anywhere between $50 million and $3 billion in net worth, granting him a suave Bruce Wayne style life. Yet during his last mercenary job in Cairo, he was left for dead by a former colleague. He dragged himself through the sands of the desert to the tomb of Khonshu, the Egyptian moon god, where he was pronounced dead, but resurrected at the hands of Khonshu. The resurrection took a toll, however, as he developed multiple personality disorder. When he returned to New York, he created two personalities, Stephen Grant and Jake Lockley. Grant was the millionaire womanizer, while Lockley was a cab driver. So you can kind of see like what they're going to do with this. It's going to be Blade comes to New York, and ultimately Blade meets up with Moon Knight, and they go off and fight some vampires. And I think that's going to be something that'd be very fascinating. Very fascinating. Because seeing these characters cross over in this particular fashion is what the fans want, right? It is. It's what the fans want. Now, I talked about this a little over a few weeks ago, right? I talked about this. And when Kevin Feige confirms that you're going to need to watch Disney Plus Marvel shows in order to keep up with the movie MCU. And there are people out there that were like legitimately mad about this. They're like, well, I don't want to pay for Disney Plus. I don't want to be forced to watch that in order to get. I'm like, come on, this is storytelling. These are like chapters in a story. If you've sat through 23 movies, there's a high likelihood you will find yourself in a position to watch those Disney shows. Now, I'm not saying it's always going to be legal, but you're going to find yourself in a position to enjoy the content and to keep up on the stories. And the reason why I support this as much as I do, the reason why I very much support the idea of Moon Knight meeting up with Blade was because of how the Netflix series failed to deliver upon the initial promises, right? If you go back 2013 when they announced Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., well, I think they announced it in 2012, but it premiered 2013 September, and it tied in directly to Iron Man 3. And it kept with Iron Man 3 storyline for a while till it tied into Captain America Winter Soldier. And then during season 2 of the show, they introduced the Inhumans, or at least setting up the Inhumans. And that was going to tie in with the movie that was announced in mid-2014. But because of the conflict between Ike Perlmutter, who's a notorious spendthrift, who didn't want to give the shows the budget and he wanted to keep them all to himself, Feige said F it and went straight for the MCU, leaving the television shows behind. There's a reason why Cloak and Dagger got to season 2 and it got canned. There's a reason why they just got rid of The Runaways. There's a reason why all of these shows that Jeff Loeb created are being taken out back and just unceremoniously bludgeoned with a shovel. Because Feige wants there to be one cohesive world. This is what he has spent 11 years, if not longer, definitely longer, because they were talking about Ant-Man at Comic-Con in 2006. So you got to figure for like roughly the last 15 years, let's give or take about 14, 15 years, Feige has wanted an interconnected universe. Feige has wanted this to be a reality. And what happens is now he's got it. He's got it all, including Spider-Man and including Star Wars here pretty soon. Like I keep saying, Feige is the most powerful man in Hollywood. And he's also the one who's proven time and time and time again he can get it done. So people out there that are upset about all that, people up there that are upset about Marvel canceling or Netflix canceling the Marvel shows, which, by the way, I believe are coming back to FX if you believe the rumors. Feige's the guy to make it work. And I think he's going to do a damn good job. And we're all going to be super freaking impressed when it happens. But as always, I do want to hear your thoughts and your opinions. Okay, final story of the day. This one's kind of a take on continuation of one I covered last night. So yesterday I talked about Disney Plus having been, having people looking for cancellations, right? Saying here that 4 times more people are trying to cancel Disney Plus over Netflix. And a lot of people in the comment section reminded me about the Disney hack, the sale of all of the Disney Plus accounts that was happening on the dark web. Because there's an article that popped up literally just a couple days ago saying thousands of hacked Disney Plus accounts are already for sale on hacking forums. And this was just a couple days after the release of Disney Plus. And so a lot of people out there were like, oh man, how did it happen? Oh my God, how's this going? Are we already going to get screwed? Blah, blah, blah. And it's just kind of a negative headline for Disney. So this is what it basically says. Hackers didn't waste any time having started hijacking Disney Plus user accounts hours after the service launched. Many of these accounts are now being offered for free on the hacking forums or available for prices varying from $3 to $11, according to a ZDNet investigation. That's, that's interesting, right? They're selling the accounts, access to the accounts for a couple bucks. Because as soon as people figure out that you're on there, they're going to change their password and boot you off. So you spend a couple dollars, you get what do you want, basically. But Disney today pushed back on this narrative a bit. They actually said that no Disney Plus accounts were hacked due to evidence of a security breach. And the thing is, they have to do this. Like, they have to come out and address this because this could hurt their bottom line. When they say in the first day, right, keep in mind, they were estimating originally to have like 8 million people signed up by the end of the year, and they get 10 million in the first 24 hours. They cannot let that happen. They cannot let that any kind of negativity come out and screw that up. Now, it says thousands of Disney Plus accounts have reportedly been hacked and stolen and offered for sale on underground cybercrime forums. Disney has now responded, saying that only a small percentage of the service's 10 million plus users have seen their usernames and passwords compromised, and that Disney Plus systems were not breached by hackers. Saying, "We found no evidence of a security breach," Disney rep said in a statement. We continuously audit our security systems, and when we find an attempted suspicious login, we proactively lock the associated user account and then direct the user to select a new password, which seems pretty standard. But think about that. A lot of these accounts were being sold. So then the question becomes, how did it happen? Well, it's kind of dumb when you think about it. It says the response comes after a report by tech news site ZDNet that several thousand Disney Plus accounts were being offered for free on hacking forums. It's not clear how the credentials were poached, but the speculation is hackers gained access to accounts by using email and password combos leaked at other sites or by using keylogging malware. Now, Disney pointed out that the problem of cybercriminals stealing the usernames and passwords isn't unique to Disney Plus, saying billions of usernames and passwords are leaked from previous breaches at other companies predating the launch of Disney Plus are being sold on the web. In fact, it goes on to say here that currently there are over 80,000 compromised Netflix accounts for sale from one single market on offer for average of a one-time payment of $6. This is coming from Kila, an Israeli threat intelligence provider. Also, to put Disney Plus hacks into context, they appear vastly smaller in scope than security breaches that have affected the likes of Yahoo, which saw upwards of 3 billion accounts were stolen several years ago, or Facebook, which said last year that hackers had accessed over 29 million users. So a few thousand people versus 29 million. We can kind of start seeing that ultimately there's a bit of hyperbole in regards to this, right? There's a bit of hyperbole when you address a situation. So when I talked about it yesterday with the 4 times as many people looking to cancel, getting information on canceling Disney Plus, it probably has a lot to do with the Verizon year that you get or the free trial that a lot of people got the first week and maybe they don't want to renew or maybe they just want to get through Mandalorian. It's really not that insane of a concept. But I think people out there are looking at it and they're trying to say like, oh, no. Clearly there was a data breach. Clearly this is what happened because we heard about it on an article from a couple days ago. But no, Disney takes its security pretty quick. It takes its security pretty well, pretty seriously. The problem with it is, though, is that so many people out there don't. So many people out there use the same email and the same password for practically everything. And people can just figure it out eventually. You know, it's like, I'll give you just a quick case in point. Back in 2008, before the presidential election, Sarah Palin, the vice president nomination for the Republican Party, had her Yahoo email hacked. And she was actually using that Yahoo email to conduct government business outside of her actual email that could have been easily looked at and, requested information from a FOIA. So she was sneaking around, right, using a non-private Yahoo account that some kid on 4chan hacked because he went there and he was like, he forgot the password. And it turns out the security question was, what's your grandfather's name? And he went to Wikipedia and he looked it up and he got into her email account. If someone's looking for something, they can get their way in. Plus there are data breaches all the time. Remember the Ashley Madison one from a couple years ago? That basically that cheating website got hacked and leaked out there. We found out a lot of people were on board. These things happen all the time because people don't always take the extra step to protect themselves. This isn't Disney's fault, but it was kind of being teed up by a lot of people out there who are kind of anti-corporate Disney at this point and trying to use it as like another way to attack the company. It's not true. It's fake news. And I would very much believe what Disney is saying here because it just seems to make the most amount of sense. And when you approach something from an Occam's razor perspective, the simplest explanation is often the most truest. But anyway, as always, your thoughts and your opinions. Okay. Whew. That's what I got locked and loaded. All right. Okay. That was fun, right? That was good times. Let's see what, let me look through some of the stuff here. All right. Oh, there's a bad link on that channel. Whoopsie. Let me fix that. That's not good. There we go. Ooh, pardon me, man. Okay, so I fixed that then. If anyone's gonna come on in, people have been finding it though. That's pretty good. Let's see. Do I think Rise of Skywalker will save Star Wars? I no, I think Mandalorian will save Star Wars. I think Baby Yoda is gonna save Star Wars. Mando is gonna save Star Wars. Mando's the shit. I would argue that in many cases, what's gonna the Rise of Skywalker is going to, it's like I said, it's just got to be better than the Last Jedi. I can't tell you if that's going to be good or bad. So there's that. Okay, so let's see. Tran, come on back. Don't know what that is, but okay. Oh, Tron, come back. Oh, okay, I see now. You silly Billy, you. So Alex here says, so no resurrection of the Marvel Netflix shows. Well, from what I've been hearing from Mikey Sutton, who is, he's put this information out there. Disney and Marvel want to put Daredevil and Jessica Jones specifically on FX and then have the episodes streamed to Hulu the next day. That's where they want to take the series. And that to me does feel like it's a relative, like that seems like the most accurate play. So many people watched Daredevil on Netflix that would probably watch it on FX, and then they would get Hulu if they wanted to watch it on Hulu. And that's going to also kind of be the thing too, right? Disney's going to like want to get you into that bundle package. If they can get you into that bundle package, then you're going to end up, saving a little bit of money, but getting a lot more content. And they're going to put a lot more content on Hulu. I mean, they're going to put full R-rated content on YouTube. I mean, on Hulu. That's going to be there. Let's see here. Why are my eyes red? This is an image a friend of mine made a while ago. I thought it was funny, and someone asked me to make it my avatar, so I just have it as my avatar. Let's see here. Have I seen Master of Disguise? I did. I saw that movie. I try to forget that I saw that movie, but you know what? Turtle. I've seen that movie. I came out in 2002, if I recall correctly. I think it did. I think it really did. Let's see here. Have I heard the rumor that Tom Hanks will play Norman Osborn? Jesus. That'd be a hell of a thing, right? That'd be a hell of a thing if he was to play, if he was to, wow. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he could play that kind of sinister character. Could you see Tom Hanks as Norman Osborn? Hey, like, here's the thing: if they brought back J.K. Simmons as J.J. Jameson, could they bring back Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn? Because he was great. Let's see here. Have I seen the show Camp? It's basically I haven't. What's it on? Let's see here. DSP should play Beast. No, DSP should play video games and leave polite society alone. Let's see. You're trying to play Lego Batman 2 on PC, but it's in red and green 3D. What the hell? Did you pirate it? Remember, guys, if you want to jump on in, if anyone wants to chat, I can let me know, and I will invite you in. Just DM me on Twitter. Link is you can see my Twitter name right there at mjarbo. Camp Campus. Oh, sorry. Camp Campus. Okay, it's on Root 33. Right. Well, that's all going to go to HBO Max, so I'll be able to watch it then. I've heard the rumor of him playing Doctor Doom. That to me is pretty funny. Could you just imagine like Doctor Doom going like, all right. So, there's that. Let's see here. Alexandra Daddario or Ana de Armas? Oh man, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go with Ana de Armas though. Like, I like them both, but Joy from Blade Runner, man, is like one of the sexiest characters in the past like 10 years. So, it'd be what it'd be. Plans for Black Friday? Nah, not really. I might walk out and I might go to the store and see what's going on. I live in what's considered a low volume town, smaller population. So we have a mall. It's just not very good. It's kind of boring. Not much goes on there. So, Let's see here. Do I think Marvel plays it safe? Well, they play it safe because of the money. I mean, it's yeah, I know DC takes more chances because DC is like, why not? Let's do it. But really, Marvel makes they play it safe. You know, I mean, who's to say if they did something as edgy as Joker, if it would have the same impact? You know, they have a brand to protect. They literally have a brand to protect. So I don't see that being a thing. But a DC takes more chances, and I appreciate that. What are my thoughts on Daria? Not a fan. I never liked Daria in the show anyway. I never liked Daria's character. I didn't like her on Beavis and Butthead, and like, oh, we're giving her a show on MTV, and I'm like, I'm not going to watch it. What's that? I should watch Wolverine and the X-Men. Feige produced. It's on Disney Plus. Oh, is it good? Yeah, I should check it out. Feige produced it. John Campia thinks Kathleen Kennedy just misspoke. Oh my God. Oh my, wasn't he calling for her to be fired like a year ago? Right? Like everyone else who was critical of The Last Jedi was all like, fire Kathleen Kennedy out of a cannon into the sun. And then John, you know, like, was it, Jeremy Johns comes out and does a video like, you know, Kathleen Kennedy kind of needs to be fired. Right? You couldn't see it because I was doing audio, but there was like 8 jump cuts in that sentence there. And then Campia, he came out and he said, she needs to, she's got to go, you know? And now he's like, no, she just misspoke. Look, I give her credit where credit's due, but you know, it's not hard to read between the lines on what was being said. It's not hard to read in between the lines on all that stuff. With what Kathleen Kennedy was saying on everything, you know, you can see she's not happy where she's at. She's doing it out of honor and duty, but that's it. Let's see here. When Kennedy leaves, do I think the story group? No, I don't. I don't think the story group will remain. I don't. I think they're all going to be gone. I think whoever takes over next is going to be like, yeah, bye-bye. But we've got no bye-bye. Because I think, I mean, look, I think some of them might stay, right? But the ones that are, it's going to be seriously revamped. Paul Blart, Mall Cop 1 or 2. I've only seen the first one, so no. Will I be doing a cop? Yeah, I'm going to be doing a cop video, but I'm not too sure how I want to do a cop video. Here's the thing. There's like 35 of you in here. I'll be honest with you guys. Like I've been trying to think of how I want to talk about it because the truth of the matter is I don't know if my channel is going to survive. And I don't want to sit there and say that as, you know, as a fear mongering tactic, but I'm being legit. Right. So, the reason why I say that is I've been trying to get as much details as I can, and it gets to be a little bit much. Because it's like, I talk a lot about Star Wars and I look at that and I go, well, okay, Star Wars could some pea-brained pencil pusher from the FTC in a massive sweep look at my Star Wars content and go, yeah, I don't know. Like, this looks like it's for kids. And then I get fined $42,000 or up to $42,000, you know? I'm sure you're going to get a lot of warnings. They're going to give you a lot of warnings at first and whatever else. You're going to get like maybe like a multi-strike system. But it's one of those things you don't know. Like I can't talk about Disney after January 1st. That's pretty much true. Right? Like anything that's not maybe PG-13 rated. So Star Wars could be okay. But Mandalorian's PG, TV PG. Even though they cut a dude in half, it's PG. Right? That could be considered for kids. So I can't talk about Mandalorian. You know? I don't know. I mean, I have no freaking idea. So it's like, that's one of the reasons why I want to like do the podcast here, because I want to build it up and you know, go from there and like try to then, you know, do a patron or rebuild my Patreon and basically be like, look, if you guys like the show, kick in $1. If we can get like 1,000 people to kick in $1 per month, like that's a lot, you know, or something along those lines. I just haven't done it yet because I'm kind of like just trying to figure it out, like how I want to go about it. But that's the truth of the matter, is like none of us know what's going on. Kappa is a frightening fucking thing, right? Like I just want to yell fuck Kappa Not YouTube. It's not YouTube's fault necessarily. And it really isn't. If you look at it, what it is, a COPPA in essence is designed to protect kids, right? YouTube was following the law by having the website be 13 or older. They were following the law. What it is it's some bureaucrat was like, wait a minute, hold on. We need to update these things in order to go after YouTube. Because what it is, they go, oh, but kids are being marketed to. You know why kids are being marketed to? Safety and anyone else? You know why? Because parents hand them their goddamn phone like a fucking iPad nanny. And then the kids are like, okay, well, I don't feel like watching, like whatever you watch, which could be murder mystery or like, bikini waxing videos, by the way, they exist on there and they are like, woo, they're pornographic. But, they go and they watch like Peppa Pig or Little Baby Bum or something like that. And so then because they're on their parents' account who are over the age of 18, that data then gets collected under the parents' account. And the parents apparently have given their children explicit permission to be able to access that account and use that data. Therefore, whatever data gets mined is already technically being approved by the parents, which is the entire point of the goddamn fucking law. So it's horseshit. It's fucking horseshit. When you look at what they say, when you look at what they say and you look at how they explain it, and then YouTube handled it in like one of the worst possible ways, like, oh, well, you're gonna want to consult a lawyer. We can't tell you what content's for kids. Neither can a fucking lawyer. What am I going to do? Put one on retainer and go like, hey, yo, Bob, I'm going to fucking do a video about goddamn Star Wars. You show any children? I don't know. It's me talking. And it could be for kids. Yeah, you don't fucking know. No one fucking knows. It's the stupidest goddamn thing. It's the stupidest goddamn thing. It's ridiculous shit. It's just annoying as fuck. Because no one knows what's going on. The government won't give you specifics. YouTube can't give you specifics except to fearmonger. And all it's going to do is drive more creators to falsely identify their content as for kids in order to keep themselves from getting hit with a $42,000 fine per video. But that won't protect you from everything. And they make no fucking, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Jesus fucking Christ. Right? You know how you fix COPPA in this shit? You know how you fix COPPA in the situation? You fucking make people use their goddamn IDs to get in an account, to verify their account. You verify everybody and they have to have an ID. Physical ID matches their name. Right? But they're not going to do that because that gets rid of anonymity and privacy. And I've been saying it for years anyway, that eventually social media, which by the way, this platform is social media, is eventually going to do away with anonymity anyway. Right? Facebook's already done it for the most part. Got to use your ID to fucking verify an account to get on Facebook. You don't think that's coming here? It's coming here. And that might be the only way to get around this COPPA law because you have to be a certain age to do it. But then again, it's so fucking vague in its description. You have no goddamn idea. None. And I've watched a ton of videos on this too. People who are lawyers and people who are YouTube experts, and they're all saying the same thing. They all just read off that fucking sheet. And you know what they don't do? You know what they really don't do? And this really pisses me off because I know they probably can't do because they don't want to get themselves in any kind of fucking trouble, is they don't offer a fucking solution. All they say is, contact the FTC. We'll leave a link to a petition. Contact the FTC. That's it. And when you're a creator who looks at your own content and go, I talk about like cartoon movies, but I also say dick a lot. Do I have to stop? Like what content is safe? I already can't talk about like anything controversial because I lose monetization. Right? I get that dreaded fucking yellow dollar sign if I talk about anything controversial. So I can't talk about anything controversial, so I have to go for more of like squeaky clean subjects. Oh my God, that could attract children. You're fucked either way. You are fucked either way. So most people are going to look at it from the perspective of just saying, well, I'm better off to just not fucking make content. Or I'm better off to not claiming that it's not for kids, and then to lose 60 to 90% of your revenue because they are fearful of the vague definitions of this antiquated 2-decade-old law, which like I said, and I agree with, was designed to protect kids, but it's clearly not being looked at by anyone who understands the fucking internet. And that's why COPPA is absolutely, positively, infuriatingly bullshit. And YouTube can't do nothing to stop it because they just got fucked for $170 million. No one knows what to do. No one. You know what happened in the apocalypse, right? When no one knew what to do, they found what to do. They realized that if you turn on creators, if you start creating drama, you'll be able to make that fucking money. If you turn on people you know, if you fucking make it a show, if you bring them on in, everything, you can make that fucking money. Because if you're swearing, if you're all upset and shit like that, then it's not going to be marked for kids. But if you create the drama and you give people that dopamine hit, you can make a lot of fucking green. 2020 is going to be a real fucking interesting year. I just want to talk about movies. You know, I want to talk about movies. I want to like make interesting videos. I want to talk to you guys. I want to fucking make a living, take care of my kids. And I'd love to do this show and have, you know, like $1,500 a month or some shit in Patreon in order to be able to do that. And that's what I'm building towards. That's what I want to do. You know, like I'll do a 2-hour stream. And I'm being honest here. I'll do a 2-hour stream. I'll be up on this channel or even on the other channel. But I had it over there and I'll make like maybe 50 cents in 2 hours. Not viable, but I don't bitch about it. I'm being real, but I don't bitch about it. You know, I'm not going to sit there, hold up my hat and go like, please, sir, guys. Or like, nah, that's not me. I want to do that. But this situation is going to freak everybody out. And it's just, it's fucking frustrating. So yeah, I want to talk about COPPA, but I clearly have a lot of emotions that are attached to it that are just confusing. Because I've been doing this as a full-time job for almost 5 years. And I can usually figure out a way to at least squeak by, but now it's like, who knows what the fuck's going to happen? Do I take the 90% hit or do I risk fucking $42,000 a video when I put out 4 videos or so a day? Yeah. I'm just saying. It's bullshit. Anyway. So, let me see here. I don't know. Let me find something. There we go. Clear that out. Okay. Let's see here. Have I seen The Fanatic with no, I haven't. I saw it at Redbox the other day and I was like, that's the one that's like getting really critically panned, but then it's John Travolta movie. So you're kind of used to it at this point. You're just kind of expecting that to be. So it's just how it goes. You just expect John Travolta not to do good things. No, they can. They have technology to do sweeps. They're going to do periodic sweeps. They're going to build machine learning to detect it. By the way, that's what's in machine learning is what really kind of kicked off the apocalypse. There's a lot there, dude. There's a lot there. As CEO, no, Wojcicki can't do anything because they're bound by the law. They're literally bound by the law. And you clearly have an FTC that is run by anti-net neutrality, dumb, stupid people who do not understand the internet. And they're just like, what do you mean children are on YouTube? It's like, fuck, dude. It's ridiculous shit. It's just ridiculous stuff. They can't do anything about it. They're probably happy to an extent because they get rid of a lot of content. I don't know. It's so fucked up. Favorite Stephen King film. For me, you know, I'm gonna. It's which one? Oh, it's Maximum Overdrive, because he wrote it and directed it. I love that movie. I also unironically love the original 1991 It miniseries. I really do like that. I do. It's one of those, like, I don't want to say comfort films, but it's one of those ones that like really reminds me of my childhood, and like I really like it. And so I was very happy with It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2. But I to me it's like I still love the original. You're never going to beat Tim Curry. Bill Skarsgård was great, but you're never going to beat Tim Curry. So there's that. Let's see. AC/DC. Fuck yeah, man. What has the bigger legacy, Star Wars or Star Trek? Well, it all really depends on how you look at it, right? And you know, there's a lot of people out there that are kind of like this anti-SJW crowd that love Star Trek. And they're just always like, oh my God, Star Trek, man. We don't want woke Star Trek. And then you're just like, do you not remember the original Star Trek had the first interracial kiss on TV? I mean, for 1966, that shit was pretty woke. Woke by them standards, which is way, way more woke than now. You have interracial marriage now, and that's a thing. Back then, ooh, frowned upon. You know, you have commercials with interracial couples kissing. Back then, really frowned upon. But no, it was very progressive for the time. Star Trek has always been progressive. But yet a lot of anti-progressive people are like, they like the, I think they like the idea of it, right? They like the idea of what it represents, what it could represent. And that does lead to its legacy. But if you want to talk about the last, 50 years versus the last 40 years, I would argue Star Wars has a greater legacy. And that has a lot to do, I think, with the fact that Star Wars hasn't had to reinvent itself as often as Star Trek has. Star Trek has very often had to reinvent itself. You figure, you look at the TOS, right? TOS is it's a fun, it's a campy show, but they still had to, like they tried doing a more hardcore sci-fi movie with the motion picture, and no one liked it. And it's been nearly 40 years, and still no one likes it. I mean, I own that whole set, all the first generation or all the next generation movies too. I got them all on Blu-ray. I refuse to watch the motion picture. I start that shit with Wrath of Khan. But look at Wrath of Khan. Wrath of Khan's a B movie. It's a B movie full of dumb over the top action and over the top things, and people loved it. And then the franchise went from there. I mean, it's just I love Star Trek, and I really do love Star Trek. I just find it funny when people that are trying to say that the new stuff is woke, they don't go and look at the older shit and realize, what it was attempting to say and what Gene Roddenberry did. It's really funny to me how that all kind of plays out, right? How history is often lost on those who choose not to understand it. But as for legacy, I'm going to argue that, for inclusion and diversity, clearly it's Star Trek. For advancing the idea of sci-fi and pop culture, definitely Star Trek. For inspiring certain product types, a lot of product types we have come from Star Trek. People saw the technology that was clearly fake for the show, but it inspired them to develop it in real life. I mean, I remember the first time I saw somebody with a cell phone communicator pinned on their chest. I was so impressed. This is like in 98, I think. I was so impressed with it. I thought that was amazing. No one has built a fucking functional lightsaber or an X-Wing. God damn it. Right. But Star Wars, in regards to pop culture and its impact on a generation, I would argue is more significant. But then again, it could also be because by the time that I was a kid, I was born, and Wrath of Khan had just come out, and then it was like Wrath of Khan and those movies were way older for me. But Star Wars, I grew up with, I grew up watching all those movies. So maybe for me, I view it that way. But I still want there to be good Star Trek. I still want there to be good Star Wars. I do like both. I would say probably, I think going forward, the legacy is going to be more aimed at Star Wars, because most people aren't going to know the achievements or the accomplishments of Star Trek. And that's because the audience for Star Trek is getting older and it's not growing. It's just not. Star Wars is growing. It is. Star Trek is not. If it was, it would have done a lot more at the box office. Do I follow any critics? Yeah, I follow John Campea. I do like John Campea. I was following Grace Randolph till she blocked me on Twitter. I follow Jeremy Johns and Chris Stuckman, who I both like. I'm always looking for more too. Cause I'm always looking for people to meet. Cause I'd like to be able to bring like people on here, you know, like other YouTubers or other critics and just have a conversation. The problem with it is though, is that the show runs late, right? Like again, like when I mentioned the whole Patreon thing, one of my goals was like to do a stretch goal or like a you know, whatever monetary goal, like 1,000. I could do this earlier in the night, like at 8 p.m., you know, go 8 to 10 or something instead of 11 to like 12:30 or 1. And that's kind of like the goal, you know what I mean? So it's like, then more people could come on, I think, and check it out. Anyway, do I think that a live action Atlantis would do well? I'll be honest with you, man. I don't know, but I'll tell you this. The only thing I want that's live action in Atlantis is I want them to do for Indiana Jones 5, Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. That video game is one of my all-time favorites. It is amazing. It's great. I love it. And I would love to see them do something with it. Suppose the new series had the first trans character, but those folks forgot about Jad C. Dax on DS9. Yeah, a lot of people forget that kind of stuff. You know, I mean, again, when I say Star Trek has had to reinvent itself more often, I'm referring to like the, you know, TOS, TNG, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise. Those are all vastly different, and they're all great in their own right. You know, I love TNG and I liked Voyager a lot. I could never really get into DS9. I'm not knocking the quality. I just could never really get into it. And then Enterprise, I just avoided it, I think, but I heard it was getting really good by like the time it ended. You know, but those are all vastly different characters, different parts in time, you know, and then even the movies reinvent themselves. So it's, you know, it is what it is. And I appreciate the franchise attempting to boldly go where no one has gone before, in a lot of different ways. And again, I do love it. I mean, the music is fantastic. The characters are great. Dude, I love the cast from the TOS. You know what I mean? I grew up watching those movies as well. So, I mean, like I was really heartbroken when Leonard Nimoy died. I was at the San Diego Comic-Con Star Trek 50th anniversary panel watching Will Shatner, you know, on stage and shit. And like, fucking, it was cool, man. Like I loved it, you know, like I do love a lot about it, but for me, I think my preferred choice is Star Wars. So that's kind of where I lean on that front. DC Marvel villain origin movie I would like. For DC, I think I would, I mean, I don't know, man, kind of like, I'm trying to think of like, I think like the Riddler would be good. You know what I mean? I like the Riddler quite a bit. There's a lot of great villains that would be fantastic for origin, but I don't know for origin movies, maybe like an ensemble movie, but for Marvel, yeah, I'm looking forward to Carnage in this next Venom movie, actually. So I'm going to get what I want. I really want to see a Carnage movie, and we're going to get it. Let's see. You'd argue that Star Trek's progressive future has, before STD, made logical sense with how humanity would develop. Well, I mean, but the thing is, Porcelain, from 1960s to now, technology has vastly changed, which would then speed up how certain things were to happen, and are also our interpretation of how they would be happening, or our interpretation of where they might be going. Roddenberry's view of the future was very pragmatic, not religious, you know, very, you know, unified culture, like what? No, it was atheist, you know what I mean? Like very socialist in regards to how it was handled. And then now it could be different, you know, because we look at the future in a totally different way. It's been 50 years. You know what I mean? Like the perspectives change the older you get. I see your point though. Let's see. When am I doing videos about Galaxy's Edge? I don't know, man. I got the footage. I have the footage. I've got all the footage. I got to get, I'm going to get it out before Rise of Skywalker. I guarantee I'm going to do that before Rise of Skywalker. Let's see here. What actor would I like to see make a comeback? Eddie Murphy, man. And he's on his way right now. Like Dolomite, My Name is super good. Super good. And they're doing Coming to America 2, which I'm excited to see. Because I think Craig Brewer, who did Dolomite, My Name is also directing that one. It's not Landis. I hope he's involved in some way, but they got everyone else back to be in the movie. And I'm excited to see it. Because I mean, look, Eddie Murphy is like one of my all-time faves, right? His 80s runs were great, like Beverly Hills Cop, Trading Places, you know, like Coming to America. Like there was a lot of really great Eddie Murphy movies, and then he just kind of fell off the map for a while. And I've always wanted him to make a comeback. I'd also like to see Mel Gibson make a comeback, but I think he's better served as a director. I love his directing work. He's fantastic. Let's see. Being half human, Spock could be looked at as a representation of people who are biracial, true or autistic. Just saying. We have a, you know, it's very. I'm just saying. Vulcans to me came across as very, very autistic. Oh no, channel views are down because I haven't posted as much content, dude. Jesus fucking Christ. All right. So, wouldn't it be a dream to have a live action Marvel versus DC movie crossover? No, I don't want that. I don't want that. I just don't. I just look, the only crossover I'd want between, like, let's say two big, diverse powerhouses like that would be fucking, what's it called? Roger Rabbit 2, man. Give me Disney and Warner's on screen again. That's what I would like. I don't want to see Marvel versus DC. I just think it's too, I don't know. I just think it's maybe an animated movie that can make it work. But Disney's never going to give up the rights on that one. Warner's would have to bend the knee. And like let Feige take that over. I mean, that's never going to happen. After Roddenberry died, TNG got darker and better. Well, I mean, again, I get that. It did get darker towards the last couple seasons, but I still think, I don't know, man. The death of Tasha Yar in season 1 was definitely pretty dark back in the day, back in the day and stuff. Eddie Murphy thought he retired. No, he didn't retire. He came back and did Dolomite My Name Is, which is a really good movie. So by your logic, that just makes the most amount of sense. All right. Just what the hell is Warner Brothers DC doing with their DC universe? I don't know. I don't know. They gave Titans a season 3, but I guarantee it's going to be on HBO Max. And the reason why I say that is because they were doing a really heavy push for pre-sales for DC Universe, right? Back last year. And I bought the year for $75, and that gave me 15 months of the service. And I've barely watched it, and I don't know anyone who actually owns it. People who I know who watch Titans, I don't think they watch it legally, if I'm being honest. I will say though, there's like my girlfriend and I were watching Watchmen on HBO. And she likes it, and I like it a lot. And I'm all like, yeah, I kind of want to go back and watch like Snyder's movie, because I really, really like Snyder's movie. And she saw it with me when it came out, but she kind of forgot that we went to go see it in IMAX. And so I'm like, I bring up DC Universe, and it's on DC Universe. I'm like, oh, sweet, cool, but it's just the theatrical cut, not even the director's cut. I mean, sure as fucking the ultimate cut, So then I go and I pull up my Blu-ray, the ultimate cut. And it's like, well, it's like 4 hours. I don't want to invest 4 hours into this shit. But it's just, if all you have on there is like the theatrical cut, when you should have the ultimate, the ultimate cut, and the director's cut, just put them on there. Give people the fucking option. I mean, Disney Plus gives you like audio commentary with some of those movies. You get a bunch of behind the scenes shit. So, I mean, like Disney knows what it's doing. They know what to give people what they want. DC just doesn't fucking know. That's why when I did the bit earlier about Joker, they always like run with things and they get overzealous. So there's all that shit. Let's see. Edgar Allan Poe or H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft, dude. I love the old gods. I like that world. I think it's a lot better. If you're looking for something cool, I don't think you can find it on YouTube. But many years ago, I saw I don't know if it was feature length. It was like 45 minutes. It was a 45-minute silent film of the Call of Cthulhu. It was really good, and it was shot in by like a Lovecraftian society or something like that. But they really put a lot of work into it. It was really good. Let's see here. You hear that they're rumbling. Cancel. They're not going to cancel Batwoman. They're not going to do it. She's going to get a whole season, and then what they're going to do is they're going to look at the whole season, see how it does, and then by the time the season's over, then HBO Max will be out, and then they're going to put it on HBO Max, and they're going to look to see what the numbers are on HBO Max. She'll get at least 2-3 seasons. Never mind, Crisis on Infinite Earths is coming up, and that's going to give her something to do. So there's that. Let's see. Stargirl's happening on CW and DCU at the same time. Yeah, right. Isn't she on Titans, and then she's going to get her own? It's fucking weird, dude. It's fucking weird. That to me is too spread out. It's too spread out, man. Like, just... Here's the thing. In 15 years, you know what? Network television is going to be dead. It really is. Let's see. Do I think that the DC universe for movies can take some stuff from New 52? Yeah. I think they're going to, man. Like, it's just going to be, it's the most current stuff to adapt. And that's what they really want. Let's see. You saw Charlie's Angels. It had basic story problems. It also had original moments. What I don't understand is how writers don't know more about story material where the audience does. Well, I believe Elizabeth Banks wrote the original draft and then they brought in some other guy to fix it, which is kind of funny, isn't it? Right? A little bit funny. This is a little bit funny. Let's see. What actor would I like to see join the MCU and in what role? I would. Let's see. What actor? I want to see. Jesus, there's so many. I know they're talking to Keanu, and that's why I think Keanu is going to be Moon Knight. If I'm being honest with you, I think they're aiming to. I've heard rumors about that, but it could also just be fan speculation. What else are they doing with that? They're doing. Who could I think of? I'm trying to think of an actor I really, really like. That is not in a Marvel movie or associated with Marvel in some way or another. You know what? I think like Brad Pitt would be a very interesting character. I just don't know who Brad Pitt could play. I think if they were going to do if they were going to go to an alternate timeline, right? Because we know the multiverse theory now works, and Nick Fury in an alternate timeline is like the old Nick Fury, right? Like cigar smoking, white dude, and then have it played by Brad Pitt or something. I think that would be pretty cool. Because I think that's going to be the thing when they go to the alternate realities, the alternate universes. When that eventually happens, you're going to see a lot of people come on in. But I'm hearing talks of Taron Egerton for Wolverine. That's what's been floated around quite a bit, and he's pretty great. I like him. But then again, I'd rather just see another Kingsman movie. So there's all that. Hemsworth brother, which one? Liam, or the dude who actually played Thor in Thor Ragnarok? When they were watching the play where Matt Damon was Loki, the guy playing Thor was the other Hemsworth brother. Charlie's Angels is nothing really for me. Yeah, I'll watch it when it comes out on Netflix. Oh, he'd make a good Norman Osborn. You think Liam Neeson? Oh, you mean good Harry Osborn? Liam could do a good Harry. Let's see. The John Wick movies are going to do the Fast and Furious multiple movie runs, probably. I mean, they're profitable and they don't cost that much to make, and they're a lot of fun. People really like them. Unlike Fast and Furious, which is a lot of fun. People really like it, but it's really expensive to make. So there's that. But anyway, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up. It's 12:30. I think it's, I got to get to bed. I haven't slept much the last couple of days. Kids. Anyway, and I appreciate that people talk to me about the sticking with me during the problems from earlier. We'll be back on tomorrow night talking about more stuff. If you are coming in late, I appreciate you guys being here. If you want to, if you missed the news stories, the clips will be up in the morning. Have yourself a fantastic everyone. All right, I'm going to go to bed. Have a good one, guys, and peace out.